many people do we have? Okay. But quite a number of people, guys. So yeah, first things first, no news, all right? Free flowing. So what do we want to do? We want to jump here. We're seeing that, so we can even look for Euro USD for some sells. We can look at AUD CHF for some buys, USD CHF for some buys. All right, so we've got a couple of currency pairs that are very weak today. All right, so we can capitalize on that, right? A couple of currencies, Euro and CHF. So we're going to capitalize and start trading anything around those currency pairs. And the best part is that there's no news today. So if price is going to be respected, I know it's a Monday, but those are the two currencies you wanted to start capitalizing on. So we're going to look at anything to do with the Euro and anything to do with, CHF, because we can capitalize massively on these two weaknesses. So I'm going to start obviously at my favorite currency. I'm going to start at the AUD CHF. What's the time? I'm going to start on my favorite currency pair. See what we have, right? See what we have. Can you see this nice upward trend? This nice buying momentum. This market has been pushing up heavily. And now what's happening is that this market is consolidating. All right, it's consolidating. So what I'm expecting is this market to continue pushing up because AUD is very, very bullish on this market. So this market will continue to rise. It's very, very, very bullish. AUD is 74 to 18. So let me just refresh. I don't know what's happening in Hourglass. I can't see the time. So let's just see what's happening. Guys, it's been a very tiring weekend. So pardon me for not being my usual self, right? With the energy and all of that. It's been a really, really tiring weekend. Like when I say tiring, I mean tiring. I've been exploring Johannesburg, all right? I've been exploring Johannesburg. My leaders have been showing me around, blessed to have such, family, thankful for IM Academy for giving me such wonderful people, right, who have welcomed me with warm arms, all right? So I'm very, very blessed and very, very thankful. And I'm excited for what the future has for us, We're really, really about to do big things. And this is why I love network marketing, because it brings you closer it turns strangers into friends and then friends into family. That is the power of network marketing. It turns strangers into friends and then friends into family. South Africa definitely took me around. Yeah, she showed me Johannesburg. Jeez. Like I've been to Johannesburg a couple of times, right? But wow, I saw places I've never seen. So I don't know what's happening, ladies and gentlemen, on AUD JPY. I really, really don't know. Not AUD JPY, I mean Hourglass, because it's not showing me the times. So I really don't understand what's happening. So, and apparently Hourglass has been giving people some problems even, from last week. It even gave us some problems because I remember, I think our last session, which was on Friday, we only were focusing on TradingView. So we were trading using TradingView. But we weren't really trading. It was just more of me showing you guys how to use TradingView, and then use TradingView together with Hourglass, to find your zones, to find your spots. But it looks like now we have no other choice but to go back to TradingView in order for us to continue with the session, because Hourglass is just acting up. We're not seeing any time. We're not seeing any arrows. A lot of things are just not here. Let me see if I can change to market trap. If we're not going to have any different scenario. So it looks like we're just going to jump on TradingView, right? Which is also going to be, very beneficial for you guys because you're going to start seeing how to actually chart down zones. But did you guys see last week, Friday's AUDCHF, how it literally played out at our zones, the zones that we charted actually at the bigger time frames. Who was on Friday sessions? If you're on Friday session, drop some 222s in the chat box. Let's see who of you guys here on Friday sessions. If you're on my Friday session, drop some 222s in the chat box. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, so yeah, hourglass not showing us any arrows. It's not showing us the time, so we can start buying the markets or selling the markets at starting a new candle. So let's just move over to AUDs and to trading view. Let's just move over to trading view. I see a lot of people on my Friday session. I want to show you guys something. So listen, I didn't touch this chart, right? Since Friday, because I've been busy over the weekends. I didn't really have time to be trading. I just want to show you guys what really happened from Friday literally to now. And like how price like literally responds to zones. I want to show you guys something. I want to show, look at these arrows, guys. Look, these arrows are the arrows that which I charted down like literally last week. So this is where we were, all right? So this is where we ended our session. Let me show you guys. Let me show you where we ended our session. This is a trade I was explaining to you guys, this reversal. And remember this zone, how did we get this zone? We got this zone from the bigger time frame, right? We got these zones from, the daily, moved on to the 4 hours, moved on to the hour, moved on to the 15 minutes, and then we broke it down to the 5 minutes. And that's how we got this zone. And then, I predicted this push, right? So let's just look at how price has been behaving since then, because I started to chart down the zones, but just look at how price has been moving. So we predicted that this price was going to continue pushing, right? It made that push. It broke these levels, right? I just want you guys to see how simple, it is to start using TradingView and, just simple it is to start charting down, man. If you master the art of like understanding the break and the retest, all those simple things, you can actually see those, without using hourglass. Look at what happened here, guys. I want to show you guys something. So this is where we predicted this downward push. So what happened is that price pushed. See, because it created a low here, right? It created a low. So if price is on a downward momentum, write this down. If price is on a downward momentum, what does it want to do? It wants to start creating lower lows and lower highs, right? When price is moving in a downward momentum or in a downward trend, it wants to start creating lower lows and lower highs. So what is that? And then when price is in an upward trend, what does it want to do? It wants to create higher highs and higher lows. See, let me show you this. So let me show you guys what I mean by that. All right. So we can actually start. We can start here. Let's start here. So this is a lower low, right? This is a lower high, right? So basically, when price is on a downward trend, what are we expecting? We're expecting price to continue to drop to create lower lows. What does that mean? It means that price should forever start breaking the levels to the downside. Right? That's what gives you the confirmation that, okay, this is a downward trend. When price starts breaking, the lowest lows, and then it breaks down that lower low, creates a lower low, creates a lower low. So what do I mean? Let me show you what a lower low is. This was the lowest point at this point in time when price was pushing back to the upside, right? This was the lower low. So if this is a confirmation of a downward trend, what needs to happen is price needs to break this lower low and create a lower low. So this low is a low, right? But this one is lower than that one. Can you see that? This low, right? So this is a low, but this is a lower low because this is lower than that one. So what does that mean? It means that when price broke and gave us this lower low, now, how do we know that, okay, this is a really, really, really good confirmation? Is when it comes back now to that previous low, which was a floor. And then what happens? Boom, it turns it into a ceiling, right? So look at what happened here. See, price pushed down, right? It broke this low because this was the lowest point at this point in time. So as soon as price breaks this low, what are we anticipating? We're anticipating that it needs to come back to respect that low to then continue pushing down. And that's exactly what happened. Look at these arrows. These arrows were written down last week, guys. Look at what I was like, okay, it created a lower low right now. So what I'm anticipating once I looked at this reverse, a reverse pattern. Also, it's very good, to start understanding, candlesticks, right? Because candlesticks are also giving us, very, very good clues on what the market is going to start doing, right? See, I'm gonna just break down a couple of candlesticks that you can actually start looking for to understand reversal patterns, to understand continuation patterns. All right. So for example, I'm gonna just break down like a couple of ones that I'm spotting as I'm on this session. Right. So for example, when you have 3 candles of the same color, all right, that's a confirmation that okay, price might continue now to move in this direction. Right, so that's the first confirmation. So I'm going to show you what exactly I mean. Look at this reversal pattern. What happened is that we had 1, 2, 3 candles of the same color. So what does that mean? That means that is a confirmation of a trend. That is a confirmation of a trend. After a reversal candle, if you see 1, 2, 3 candles, that gives you more confirmation that price is going to continue pushing to the downside. Now look at how true this is. Let's look at how many times we've got 3 candles of a certain direction, especially when you are in a specific trend. Right? When you're in a specific trend. So for example, if we were looking at an upward trend, we would want to see 3 blue candles to give us that confirmation that price is going to continue pushing up. If we were looking at 3 red candles following each other, that's giving us more confirmation of a sell direction, which is the market that we're anticipating in the first place. So for example, when we reversed here, we were actually looking for sell momentums. So when this price pushed and then it gave us 3 red candles, now that is another confirmation. As much as now it's respecting this zone, which was our first confirmation. Now what are we looking at? We're looking at candlesticks now, and they're also confirming what it is that we're looking for. And that's why we had this massive push. Now look at exactly what happened there, happen again. Look at what happened. So price broke this floor, right? Boom, broke this low, created a lower low. As soon as it created this low low, it reversed, because every time price breaks a level, it wants to come back and respect that level to then give it more momentum and more strength to continue pushing in its intended direction. All right. Can a candle that closes without a wick go the opposite direction? Anything can happen when it comes to price. Anything can happen, right, when it comes to candles, wicks. Right. So you can never truly say, okay, if this happens, if it closes without a wick, anything can happen when it comes to the market. Just know that. Right. But there are certain things that, can give you more confirmation of what it is that you want to look for and what it is that you want to see. All right. So I want to show you guys something. So look at what happened here, guys. So price broke this floor. So obviously now what are we waiting for? We're waiting for the best time to sell. See, when price is already making these moves. So it's very important also to know when to trade, when to take your zones, when to jump into the market. See, as much as you anticipate, after you have this confirmation, this reversal pattern, you have these 3, candles, right, that are all pushing the same direction. So you already know now, okay, listen, price is about to start continuing in this direction. So what are you looking for? You're looking for the highest point possible to continue selling. So you never want to sell. Now that you have spotted that, okay, we're on a downward trend, you don't want to start selling at this level. As much as you know that, hey, listen, AUD, CHF might continue dropping, right? Because I'm anticipating, I'm identifying a lot of, reversals, a lot of, confirmations. But it's all about timing. It's all about positioning. It's all about when to actually now be confident in jumping into that trade, right? And this, applies for HFX. This applies for your normal Forex. Right? So now I see, okay, listen, this is about to be a downward trend. But obviously the market will never move like smoothly. It will never just move straight all the time. It will have, the pullbacks, the pullbacks, the pullbacks. So that's why it's very important to understand when to take price. Because if you take price at the best time, right, price, stands a good chance of never coming back and retesting your zone again. All right. So let's look at what happened here. So price continued to push down. Well, it played around, but eventually it was pushing down. And then it broke this level. As soon as it breaks this level, right, it has to form another low, right? It has to form another low. So what happens is it forms a slow. Now, what confirmation does this tell me that, okay, listen, price now is about to reverse? This candlestick confirmation, this is how we know that, okay, this is now, where this low is going to start, pushing back up to go retest my zone. Because this is what we call a morning star. A morning star is when you have, a downward arrow, a downward candle, right? Another one, and then a reversal. So those three candles, so you want to look at these 1, 2, 3 candles. All these 3 candles together are called a morning star, right? So you have the red candle, you have a red candle, blue candle, right? What does this mean? It means that, there's now, buyers will start stepping in this market. And what do they want to do? They want to take a breather. See, the market will, as much as we know that, listen, the market is going to start moving in a certain direction, it has to breathe. It has to take breaks. It has to take pullbacks to gain enough strength and enough momentum to then start pushing again in its intended direction, right? So how do we actually know, okay, that price is now ready to start reversing? Price is now ready to start pushing back. It's the candle confirmation and it's the zones, right? It's the candle confirmation, it's the zones. You can, as long as, I always say people, right? You can with the hammer. You can with the hammer. I see this hammer. I see this hammer, right? You can. Now, the reason why this hammer is invalid is because of where it's at. See, look at this one. See, this hammer, right, is a better confirmation because of where it's at. This one is in a deep downward trend, right? It's not close to a zone. See, if this hammer was at this level, then that was going to be a good confirmation now, candlestick confirmation that, okay, price is now going to start, pushing to the downside. But as soon as this hammer closes here and then price starts to reverse in the opposite direction, right, especially at a zone, that is now, that candle is null and void, right? Also, it's very important to know where the candlesticks are forming, right? Because candlesticks can form you can see a morning star in the middle of nowhere. You can see, a hammer in the middle of nowhere, right? It's about, giving that confirmation on top of added confirmations. You want a lot of things playing out at this area of confluence, right? So you want a hammer close to a ceiling, right? You want to hammer close to a ceiling because now, okay, now because there's this hammer, prices, the sellers are stepping in and they're now pushing this market back to the downside. But if you get it in the middle of a trend, for example, in the middle of a trend, and it really doesn't, you don't want to take too much attention, pay too much attention to it. So you want to look at candles and where they form, right, on the chart, because you will spot a lot of candles all over. Like you're going to spot reversal candles within a trend, like in the middle of nowhere, but that doesn't really mean you should now pay too much attention to that. You want to pay attention to it, especially when it's now at your zones. I hope that makes sense, right? So if you were at a floor, at a ceiling, and now you get a candlestick confirmation on top of this confirmation that you already have that, listen, okay, I see that, price has been respecting this zone. So now that I know that this is a high impact zone, now this candle confirmation is also giving me another confirmation on top of this confirmation that I already have, because now I see a reversal candlestick confirmation forming on this area, on this zone. Does that make sense, ladies and gentlemen? If that makes sense, drop some 222s. So you only want to pay attention to the candles when they happen at zones. All right. So what happened here, right? So price formed. So, okay, can we go over that again? Okay. So there are, and the most important factors when it comes to trading is always being able to identify your floors and your ceilings, your support and your resistance. See, there are traders who literally only trade support and resistance because those are good zones. If you can spot your zones, your support and your resistance, okay, so the hammer part, right? The hammer is an added confirmation. So firstly, you have to understand what is a hammer, right? So a hammer is basically something like this. And when you have this long wick and then this body here, can you see that this is representing a hammer? See, you can have this, in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of a trade. So for example, you can have a hammer here. This candle, imagine if this candle was a hammer, which means that it had a long wick, and then the body here. It really doesn't, give you any confirmation because of where it's at. It's not at the ceiling, it's not at the floor. So you can't now say, okay, I want to take a trade at this zone because there's a hammer. So this is a reversal, right? But if the hammer now is close to a respected zone, then that hammer or that candlestick confirmation, right, is adding on top of what it is that you already see because you are already at the zone. You're already at a reversal zone. So now that you know that, listen, I'm at a support and I'm at resistance, and support and resistance are good reversal zones. Now, what do I'm seeing? I'm also seeing a hammer at this level. So as much as I know that at this level, I am supposed to be looking at a reversal pattern, now that candlestick confirmation is adding on top of what it is that I'm already looking for. Because now on top of the fact that I see that, okay, I'm at, support or I'm at, resistance, boom, I see a hammer. So now I understand that, okay, listen, now this is a second confirmation because at this level, I should be looking at reversal patterns. And then this candlestick is confirming this reversal pattern that I'm already looking for. Does that make sense? Plassad? Awesome. So you only want to, pay attention. For example, look at this. Look at here. Can you see this hammer? Look at what this hammer is giving me confirmation that this is a reversal. Why? Because it's at a zone. Because it's at this critical zone where price bounced how many times? 1, 2, 3. Now, before, let me not count these because these were after this, hammer. But look at the here, price 1, 2, 3. So obviously now at this zone, I'm expecting price to reverse, especially if, my CHF is still stronger than my AUD, which is still telling me that we're still looking for some sell sentiments, right? Especially if that is the case. So now when I see this pattern, right? Now this candlestick confirmation, this is giving me more confirmation because it's happening at the critical zone. Now that it's happening at my ceiling, that is a confirmation because that is what I want to see at that level. I want to see, indicators. I want to see things that are pointing towards a continuation in this trend, a continuation in this direction that I want to see price pushing towards because of all these confluences or because of, the ceiling, because of the strength, because of the trend, all of those things adding up, all right? So the candle is now adding on top of those things as well, all right? So look at what price happened here. So what happened is that price created a lower low. And then what happened is that obviously now when we see this morning star and pricing pushing back to the upside, what are we waiting for? We're simply now waiting for the next best time to take this trade. Because remember, we spotted this trend. Remember, we spotted this trend after this third red candle that, okay, listen, we're on a sell sentiment here. So we've been patient, right? Now, this is what you should be doing. You should be patient and wait for price. You don't take any trades, especially when it comes to high frequency Forex. You don't take any trades in the middle of a trend. You never want to catch a trend, right, in momentum. You don't want to catch a trend in momentum. You want to let the trend, work itself out and play itself out. And you want to just look at the critical zones there where you can now start taking this trade. So as soon as price broke this level, right, when I was charting this on Friday, because, after the session, I started to look at this market again. After it made this push and it broke this level and it created this morning star, I started to look at these areas. I was like, okay, listen, this is the next best time I want to take this trade. So I drew these arrows because I was like, okay, now that I'm seeing that it's pushing back to the upside, I'm looking at my next best zone. So I've been patient all this time. I'm just observing. I'm just looking at the market. Now I see that market is pushing back up. Now that I know that now it's starting to push back, I know what I'm looking for. I'm looking for price to get to where? I'm looking for price to get to a respected zone. what is my respected zone? Price breaking and retesting. So what happened? Price broke this floor, so it has to come back and retest it as a ceiling. So as soon as price, now I see that price is continuing to push up, I start charting down, because I know that when it gets to this level and the indicators are still pointing towards the sentiment, which means that, CHF is still stronger, which means that price is going to continue dropping, which means that, the trend is still strong and is valid, which means that, a lot of these confluences, stochastic is ready, RSI is ready, we've got the EMA, the moving average, also pointing towards a sell sentiment. Now that is giving me more confirmation that, okay, price is going to continue to reverse. So when price got to this level, what happened? Boom, it reversed. And because we had a heavy momentum, right, price pushed and broke that level first time. Now, what was my next move? My next move was now, as soon as it creates its next lower low. So this is where you take the trade, right? You always take the trade at the retest, not at the break, right? Always at the retest, always at the confirmation, always at the confirmation. That's the best time. Me personally, I'm very confident when I take trades on the example you're making. What does it mean on the more price hits a ceiling or floor, it becomes weaker? That is when it's pushing in that direction. So for example, it all depends on the trend. So let me look at this. Look at this. Let me show you this. This is a beautiful example of that, right? Look at this. Let me turn this blue. I'm going to show you what I mean when I say price and it's becoming weaker every time it breaks a level. So this is a floor, right? This is a ceiling, all right? Now, because we're on a downward trend, all right, I'm expecting price. Remember, I'm expecting price to always create lower lows. So what happens is that when price comes into this level and forms this pattern, this reversal pattern, which is this bullish engulfing, right? Now it's pushing up, right? So because I'm still on a downward trend, I'm anticipating price to break this level. See what happens? It doesn't break this level, but it touches it for the second time. So what happens is that it's becoming weaker because my sentiments are still on a sell trend, right? Because they're still on a sell trend, eventually every time price, and then what happens? It pushes back up. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to be patient with this market. It forms an evening star, right? So there's a morning star and an evening star. As soon as it forms this evening star, it pushes back. Now, what happens when it pushes back? It doesn't break this level again, right? Can you see that? It keeps bouncing on this level, which means that every time it bounces on this level, when I'm looking at a certain trend, right, it's giving me more confirmation that eventually price is going to break this level. It's just getting weaker and weaker and weaker. And then what happens is that it pushes back up. All right, it plays around that level, and then when it drops again, what happens? Boom, it breaks that level. It breaks that level. Does that make sense? Light bulb. So it all depends on the trend that you want and you're looking at. See, once you see that, okay, you know that when you're looking for an upward trend, you want to start looking at higher highs and higher lows. When you're looking for a sell trend and sell momentum, you're looking for lower lows and lower highs. So price has to continue breaking the levels. So now here, it's not breaking this level, but what's happening is that it's treating this level and it's becoming weaker. All right, it's becoming weaker. So what happens? That it pushes up, it pushes back down, it becomes weaker. So now this is more confirmation that, listen, this price will break. This level will break because the sell sentiments are still strong. CHF is still stronger than AUD, right? The market is still on a heavy bearish momentum. So when price pushes up again, right, what happens is that it plays around that level. It doesn't want to come back down, right? Why? Because it's fooling people. It's fooling people to think that, okay, this market is not going to stop pushing up, right? It takes a liquidity and then boom, it starts to drop. It breaks those levels because now this level has been weak because it's been touching here multiple times. And we're still on a sell sentiment. And then what happens? Boom, it breaks this level. Now, when it breaks this level, it forms this. Can you please make sure that you're muted, guys, when you jump on the sessions? So that, is price, guys. That's price. You need to, now, the reason why price didn't get all the way here to this level is because what I always want to tell you do you remember when I explained RSI and I say that, you know, there's that top green, there's the gray, and there's that top red, and there's a bottom green, which means that when price is above that, is it green or is it red? Let me see first. Let me see on Hourglass. I want to make sure that the colors are right. I think it's green at the top and then red at the bottom. Yeah, it's green at the top, red at the bottom. Okay. So at this level, right? At this level, so as soon as price, okay, this is also what I wanted you guys to show you guys something. Remember I said that another confirmation that price is going to start dropping towards a certain trend is when you see 3 red candles, right? Pushing down, like we saw here, 1, 2, 3, confirmation. Price continued to drop. Now it pushed back, it gave us a reversal candle. And what else did it give us? It gave us 3 red candles. 1, 2, 3, boom, what happened? Price continued to drop. Can you see those candle confirmations now, right? Now what happens? Price reverses, boom. But now we can see from this massive drop that this market is in a deep downward trend momentum. Remember, when price is in a deep downward trend momentum, it doesn't really get back to retest that zone because the sellers are very bearish on this market, right? So that's when you would identify an RSI, the market below this red line. See, I can promise you right now, if we were to go back in time and go look at this area over here, we're going to see that price was below that red line. See, when price is below that red line, that is a strong, heavy momentum to the downside. And I promise you, this was what was happening here. Because price, the buyers were pushing, right? They were pushing this market back to go retest the zone. But because there's a very strong sell sentiment, right? It didn't get to that level. Look, it formed this, you know, reversal candle, this hammer, boom. And what happened? It massively dropped, right? Pushed all the way to the downside, right? Are you guys actually, you know, I know that, you know, this is probably, you know, the first session I've ever had just, you know, focusing on trading view. So I hope, you know, for the sake of everyone on this call, you guys are with me, you guys are understanding. So I want to see, right? Are you guys understanding, or am I just confusing you guys? Drop some 333s if you're understanding. Drop some 444s if I'm confusing the heck out of you guys. Drop some 333s if you're understanding. Drop some 444s if you're like, what is this man talking about? Jesus Christ. Break, retest, lower lows. What is that? Someone wrote 3 and 4. 3, 3, 3, 3, 4, 4, 4, 4. Understanding. Light bulb day, sir. 3.5. Awesome, guys. Awesome, guys. Okay, so some of it is clear, some is new and a bit confusing. Guys, like if you still, you know, trying to, you know, grasp all of this, right? You really won't, you know, give yourself time to learn, you know, so be patient with yourself because, you know, I didn't understand this all, you know, from the first time, you know, I heard about it, you know, so I know that, you know, some people, you know, aren't even going to comment because they're going to feel like, sheesh, some people are like looking at the screen from an angle like, what is happening here? I don't even want to comment because I'm just confused, right? Relax, don't panic, all right? Do not panic, all right? It will start making sense. It will start making sense, guys. All you want to do is, I'll go back to the recorded session. This is a lot of info, grateful. Awesome, all right? So you definitely won't understand all of this all at once, guys. So, you know, this is just me now trying to open your mind, trying to stretch you guys. All right, this session is recorded, and I'm glad I recorded it so I can, actually share it back with you guys. I'm gonna drop it on my YouTube channel as per usual. You guys can actually go back, rewatch it over and over and over and over and over again until it makes sense. All right, and now you're gonna be able to use this, together with your, hourglass, right? When hourglass is back up, and you're gonna be able to combine the two, and you're gonna be deadly, guys. Promise you, you're gonna be lethal, 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 lethal. Can you see that this is a trend that we drew on Friday, this downward trend sentiment? And I told you guys that, best look at how this market dropped. This is some beautiful, beautiful price action. Beautiful, 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 beautiful price action. So we always want to, start off on the daily chart, because the daily chart is what's going to give us, this long-term vision and long-term idea of what it is that we should supposed to see, right? See, me personally, I don't trade short-term trends, right? Well, sometimes I do, trade short-term trends, but I want to capitalize on big movements, right? Where I know that this market is going to continue, like on an overall trend, right? Because when you look at the daily chart, right, the daily chart is always going to give you the overall trend, right? What is the overall trend? We can see that the overall trend is sell sentiment. So even on a daily chart, I can see that, okay, listen, there's more momentum to the downside here, right? Because this market is heavily dropping. So now I want to break down and I go deeper and deeper inside. I'm only should be looking and focusing on, that sentiment, which is that sell sentiment. Why? Because in a higher time frame, prices continue to drop, and price is making a push and is making a trend to the downside, right? So that is all I should be looking for, right? So look at this beautiful price action. So price touched, pushed down, went back into the trend line, pushed down, went back into the trend line, pushed down, all right? That's beautiful. It's really, really beautiful. But now I don't want to delete all these lines, but I want to show you guys how to start charting. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. I get what you get you on. Body, come on. What about what you do with me? And talk about it, read about it. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. I've been anticipating. How far back do you look at the daily trend to consider? How far do you look back at on the daily trend? Do you consider that month? I'm trying to read this, but as I'm reading it, it's confusing me.
So my question is, like, when you're looking at the daily trend, do you consider only for that month, or do you go back? Because what I do is I minimize, so it shows year on year, month on month, and so forth. So do I only consider for that month? Because you could find that the previous month it was going up, and then this month it's going down, or the previous year it was going up, this year is going down.
Honestly, I work with what I have. So for example, I'm gonna look at what I have here on the daily chart, and I'm gonna start predicting my next moves from here. I'm not gonna go deep into what happened previous weeks, what happened. For example, open the monthly chart, start doing that. So me personally, right, the daily is where I end, right? Even on a weekly chart, though, we are still on a sell sentiment here, right? Even on a weekly, on a monthly trend, we're still on some sell sentiments, right? So that's also a confirmation. But honestly, all right, if you're trading high frequency, all right, you can do that if you're a normal forex trader, and if you're going to be like a swing trader. So there are three different types of traders, right? There are your scalpers, right? And then there are your daily traders, and then there are your swing traders. So a scalper is basically what we are. See, we are all scalpers here. Why? Because we're quick in the market. We're in and we're out. See, scalpers are people who don't have the time and the luxury to just, be in the trade for a long period of time. So they want to be quick. They want to be out. So a couple of minutes, right? Max. A couple of minutes max. You want to be in, you want to be out, you want to take your money, you're good. So that is us, right? So we're scalpers, right? We want to be boom, 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 boom. So for scalpers, right, I would suggest if you want to be a scalper, you end at the daily chart, right? Look at the overall daily trend. From daily, go to 1 hour, right? So write this down. From daily, hour, from hour, 15, from F15, go take your trade on the 5 minutes. Those are the 4 important zones. And then you have, your daily traders, right? Your daily traders, or, your day traders, or people who trade, hours in a day, but they stick within the day. So they make sure that they close any and every trade that they've opened on that specific day. And then your swing traders are, people who hold the trade for a long period of time. For example, I remember I dropped in the group, I think a couple of weeks back, a trade I took on gold. See, I held that trade for 3 weeks, right? That gold trade that I showed you guys, in the group chats, I held that trade, for 3 weeks, right? So that was a swing trade. So a swing trade is when it lapses into another day and another day, and even, weeks and even months. There are people who have taken a trade, right? For example, guys, imagine if you were trading Bitcoin and you bought Bitcoin in January, and you're still in that trade today. You didn't close. Imagine how much money you'd be making right now. So that's a swing trader, people who hold trades for a long period of time, for weeks, for months, for years. Imagine someone who bought Bitcoin at the beginning of the year. Guys, beginning of the year, Bitcoin was like how much? 200,000, 250,000. Right now, Bitcoin is at $1 million. How many pips did that price move? Let me show you this. Let me show you Bitcoin chart. Let me show you this Bitcoin chart whilst we're here. So you can see this move and how someone could have definitely benefited from that big, massive move. So this is a daily chart in Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is actually, bullish right now. We're looking at some buy momentums of Bitcoin. And I saw this on Friday. Right? I saw this on Friday after, this candle confirmation that Bitcoin is about to start pushing all the way to the upside right now. So, if you're in Bitcoin, Bitcoin is about to start pushing. But I want to show you guys, something. Let's go to monthly. Let's go to monthly. So each candlestick here represents a month, right? Each candle here represents a month. So this candle is November. So let's move back. So I'm going to move back 10. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So this was January, right? Yeah. So this was January, around here. So imagine if someone bought Bitcoin when Bitcoin was around the $28,000 levels, right? Obviously, it came back in to retest the zone again. But now, so what I would have done, right? So what I do is I take a trade, right? Hold it as long as possible, right? Because I always tell people that, right? The biggest mistake people make is they want to hold on to losses longer and cut on profits shorter. And that's the wrong psychology. That's the wrong, perception of what you should be doing. Why would you want to hold? Because they have that theory that, it will reverse, it will reverse, it will reverse, it will reverse. And it actually doesn't. It continues dropping back in losses and losses and losses. And then they end up blowing their accounts, right? So you want to cut losses short and hold profits longer. That's the mentality that you want to have. Because when they are in losses, they don't want to really admit the fact that, okay, listen, I'm in a loss right now. I need to cut my losses short and protect my capital. What's the number one rule of a trader? Protect your capital always. So why would you hold on to a trade when you see that this trade is actually going in the negative direction? I'm losing money here. Cut that trade short. So now you have more capital to capitalize on the next move, capitalize on the next trade, right? So that's important. See, a lot of people now, they're afraid of cutting losses. But then now when they are in profits, right? They're afraid of losing that money. They're afraid of, yo, what if it reverses and, I don't make this amount of money? So what do they want to do? They want to take money quickly out. Yeah. What if something happens, right? Which is the wrong way to look at things, right? You want to be confident. That is why I'm not winning. You want to be confident in your analysis. And what you want to do, you always want to protect your capital, protect your profits. So every time price moves, see, like I always tell you guys, right? Price when it's in a trend. So let's go back to that AUDCHF, and I'm going to show you guys what I call scaling in, and what I also call protecting your capital, but also maximizing profits. All right, I'm going to show you guys exactly that. So let's go back to the 5. Sheesh, bought Bitcoin in 2019 and sold the last week. Wish I had put more. Sheesh, that is a massive. I also got involved in Bitcoin back in 2019, guys. I first heard about Bitcoin when it was still 67,000. 67,000 one Bitcoin. Right now, one Bitcoin, guys, is worth 1 million rand. Imagine that. My losses are way bigger than my wins. Have to start changing that around, right? Definitely start changing that around. You want to cut your losses short and you want to hold your profits longer. Now I'm going to show you. And that's why it's very important to also have a stop loss. So on AUDCHF also, what I'm starting to notice is we're on an upward trend right now. I don't know if you guys noticed that, but I saw a reversal pattern, which means that now, all right, price is making waves and pushes back to the upside. Sorry. Price is now making waves and pushes to the upside. All right, we had a reversal pattern, but I'm going to go back to that. What's the time? Sheesh, we finished the session, guys. But yeah, I just want to quickly just touch on this. So I took this trade, ladies and gentlemen, on normal Forex. All right, I took this trade on normal Forex. So this is where I took the trade. All right, boom. So I'm in at the 666.73 level. So now price pushes, right? So it's very important also to be very patient with the market. See, the market is not always just going to move in your direction immediately, right? It's going to first want to play around. It's going to first want to, push back into your zone, so you want to give it time to breathe. And that's why I always, want people to be very, patient with the stop loss, right? Don't put your stop loss quickly into profits, when, the market is still breathing, right? Because the market needs time to breathe. You want to let it be free, all right? For example, if the trade pushed into, your profits here and you put a stop loss and then it pushed back, now it took you out right now here, and then you missed out on this beautiful, beautiful sell sentiment, right? So what I did is I took my trade at this level, right? At the 666.73. And then price, I saw this confirmation, the three candle confirmation, boom, boom, boom. I was like, okay, we're on a downward trend here. So as soon as I see that trend, I'm now waiting for a break and retest. That's the only thing I'm waiting for. So what do I do? Right? So proud right now. My AUDCHF chart is looking like what I see on the screen. Awesome, brother. Awesome. So what am I looking for, right? So now I'm going to be patient. As soon as price broke this level, right, and it came back and retested, now what am I doing? I'm going to scale in. So when you're scaling in, is if you took a trade here, and then now price broke this level and it came back up here, and you see a reversal pattern, I took my next trade here. Remember, look, I charted these down before price even played out like this. So I already knew what I was anticipating and what I wanted to see. So when price got to this level, what did I do? I took more sell trades, right? Now, when that happens, I'm going to move my stop loss. Remember, I'm still in this trade as well. So I'm in 2 trades right now. I'm going to trade here and I'm going to trade here. So what do? I will have to protect all these profits. So what I'm going to take my stop loss and I'm going to put them directly below this zone, because see, if price breaks this level, then I'm anticipating it's going to now start pushing back. All right. And what do I want to do? I want to save these profits. I want to save all this money that I've already made. So what do? I put my stop loss now just above this zone, just above the highest point. Because if price breaks and hits my stop loss, now it's going to give me confirmation that price is no longer pushing in this trend. Price is making a reversal. Price is pushing up again. Right? But if that happens also, I know that my capital and the money I've already made is safe. See what happened? Price continued to drop. And then when I saw this confirmation and it broke this level, I took my last trade at this zone. Boom. price played out until I made the money that I wanted to make. I was like, you know what, I'm enough now, right? Because see, here's another thing. A lot of people get greedy, right? They've made their profits, they made their targets, right? But they still want to continue the trade. See, I could have easily helped this trade from this zone right through to these levels. I would have made a lot of money, right? But see, the whole purpose is not to make money. The whole purpose is to learn, right? Because I've already hit my targets. I've already learned something, right? So as soon as price, make this hammer, I was already way out of the market, right? So it's very important also to have a plan and trade your plan, right? I mean, I had this trade, right? Boom, took this trade, had this one, boom. So I had 2 trades that were deep in profits. So there was no need for me now to start looking for my next trade. No. What do? As soon as I see that, okay, price is now heavily dropping, I hit my targets, I've already made, what it is that I want to make today. I close all my trades and I just watch price. Price just continued to drop and drop and drop and drop, played around, continue to drop. Imagine, guys, how much money someone would have made on this move. Continue to drop, boom. But I was already out on that move. Right? I was already out on that move. Right? A disciplined trader, guys, is a good trader. See, if you're not disciplined, you'll never really become a trader. I promise you that. You're gonna master the skill, but you're gonna not, imagine mastering the skill of trading, but not making any money because of greed, because of lack of discipline, because of being impatient. There are a lot of people like that. There are a lot of people who can chart down a zone, right? But then they get too. I know a guy was a very good, and like he can spot good zones. But what does he want to do? He wants to use all the money in his broker account. He wants to be greedy. He wants to hold trades longer. And because of that, he's not becoming, consistent. Because yes, he makes money sometimes, but he loses a lot of money also because he's not disciplined. Because once he hits his target, he doesn't want to take the money and call it a day. See, every single day, Monday to Friday, you're going to make money in this market. There is money to be made. There's money on the line. So don't want to make don't want to make it all at once. Don't want to all, start to, trade and want to make your million in a day, your million in a week. Give yourself time, because I always tell people that the sum of, the small incremental, changes and improvements are going to add up eventually to the bigger picture. Look at the bigger picture. Always have, the bigger picture in mind. Always think longevity. Don't think now. Don't think short term. Don't think problems. Don't think this. Don't think that. Think longevity. If I sacrifice 6 months and I'm consistent and I build this account gradually, eventually I will get to that level. And I don't know if you guys saw my account, right? My trading account. Let me just stop because I'm gonna post this on. Let me stop recording because I'm gonna post this on YouTube. I don't want to post, me talking about money.